What's new, everyone? Hope everyone is having a great summer so far, and for today's video we are going to be checking out the real life glitches that you might have experienced. So let's get to it.
Uncanny Valley. There's a specific kind of discomfort you get when something looks almost human, but not quite.
We all know this
CGI
one.
A CGI character in a movie that's realistic, but something about the eyes feels wrong. A humanoid robot that moves slightly too smoothly or slightly too stiffly. A wax figure of a celebrity that looks... No! God! Exactly like them.
Oh my gosh. Guys, have any of you guys seen the live action Moana movie yet? If you guys haven't, bless your soul. I'm happy that you guys chose not to do that. Moving on.
Somehow makes your skin crawl. This is called the uncanny valley. The name comes from the idea that as something becomes more human-like, your comfort with it generally increases, right up until it gets very close to human, and then suddenly your reaction drops off a cliff into unease. It's a valley on a graph between clearly not human and actually human, and things that fall into it trigger a deep, instinctive wrongness. The leading explanation is that your brain is pattern matching constantly, and something that's close but not right triggers...
Oh my gosh, no. Have any of you guys seen, heard of this show, well, YouTube series called the Mandela Catalog? I'm sure some of you guys have checked it out. There's literally an entire lore that revolves around people that are called alternates that are basically doppelgangers of you, but they look very, unhuman-like. Why do we have this sort of fear that if something just looks so out of character from us as humans, we just have that dreaded feeling that we're going to be like, that we're terrified of, and it's just something we don't want to see, but it's so weird.
There's a mismatch alarm. It also may have evolutionary roots. Humans learn to detect subtle signs of illness, injury, or deception in other humans, and something that looks almost but not quite right activates that ancient warning system. Your brain can't figure out what it's looking at, and that uncertainty reads as threat. Deja vu. You're somewhere you've never been before. A new city, a first conversation, a situation you definitely haven't experienced. But there's this feeling, this sense that this exact moment has happened before. You can't say when. You just feel sure about it. That's déjà vu, French for already seen, and almost everyone has had it. The most accepted explanation is a misfiring in memory processing. Your brain has two systems that normally work in sync. One that handles new experiences, one that handles memory retrieval. Sometimes the memory system fires when it shouldn't, and labels a completely new moment as something familiar. The experience is new. The feeling of recognition is a mistake. And then there's the flip side, which almost nobody's heard of. Jamais vu. French for never seen. It's when something you know completely well suddenly feels totally unfamiliar. A word you've written your whole life looks like it's spelled wrong. A route you've driven 100 times feels like somewhere you've never been. It's the same glitch, just in reverse. Your brain calling something familiar new instead of something new familiar. The Mandela effect.
That's so weird, but before we get to the next one, has anyone experienced this where like they had a frame or just a vision of something that didn't happen yet, and then it takes like 5 or 6 years later, and then you like out of nowhere are in this scene that you remembered like so long ago, but just thought it was something that just came to your mind as a dream, or just something your mind just pictured of, and it is now happening at that moment. But instead of like a couple months later, or like just a year or two, it takes like a couple of years until that memory becomes a reality, or that vision you saw does happen. I don't know, but it's very crazy how when you experience it, you can look back and be like, dang, I just took a step into my future, but it's really crazy.
A lot of people have a clear memory of Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s. The problem is, it never happened. He was released in 1990 and died in 2013 as a former president.
I've heard
yet
this
the memory feels real to a surprising number of people. This is the Mandela effect, when large groups of people share the same false memory, the Monopoly man having a monocle, the line being mirror, mirror on the wall, when it was always
magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?
They did that though in Shrek though. Didn't Lord Farquaad, he told the mirror on the wall, he was like, mirror, mirror on the wall, or something like that. I recall him saying that though in Shrek.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, is this not the most perfect kingdom of them all?
Let's continue.
or when Pikachu never ever had a black tip on his tail. Countless people remember these things the wrong way.
Wait.
Ever had a black tip.
Wait, hold on a second.
Who is the fairest one of all?
Or when Pikachu never ever had a black tip on his tail.
That is so weird though. But there's literally Pikachu right there behind him that has a heart tail. And you're mean to tell me that he never had a black tail? It doesn't help that sometimes when they do their action scenes, or like, maybe the animator might have missed actually messed up a shot in the animation scene. It's like now a prominent thing, but dang, I thought that was something that was a distinct feature for the character. I think it's actually was shown him having a black tip in one of the Pokemon books that I had a while back.
Countless people remember these things the wrong way and remember them confidently. The explanation
Fruit
isn't
Loops.
parallel universes.
Yeah, I remember
it's just
that
how
one.
memory works. Your brain doesn't record events like a camera. It reconstructs them, filling in gaps using logic and expectation. The Monopoly man wears a top hat and a suit, so of course he has a monocle. That's what that type of character looks like, except he doesn't. The expectation was so strong that millions of brain...
So funny. I'm not gonna lie. Why is it just me, or does the Monopoly guy, kind of look like that guy from Fallout in the opening scenes when they do like those podcasts or like commercials where they're training you about safety and how to survive in your new world? He kind of looks like that a little bit, doesn't he? Yeah, that's so weird. That is so weird. I really see it. Yeah, he kind of looks like the Fallout guy. That's crazy. It would be so cool though if like the same guy who made Monopoly did the art for that guy in Fallout. So that's kind of cool.
brains filled it in the same way, and now millions of people have the same wrong memory. Shared false memories aren't proof of alternate timelines. They're proof that everyone's memory is less reliable than they think.
Wow.
Derealization. You're going about your day, and then, out of
I haven't
nowhere,
heard this one.
reality feels slightly wrong. Not in any way you can point to. Everything looks the same, but it feels like you're watching your life through a pane of glass, like the world around you is a very convincing set, and you're not entirely sure you're actually in it. It's like you've suddenly entered a dream in which you're slightly conscious. This is derealization, and it's more common than most people realize. It usually shows up during periods of stress, exhaustion, or anxiety, and can last anywhere from a few seconds to several hours. There's another version called depersonalization, where instead of the world feeling unreal, you feel unreal. Like you're watching yourself from outside your own body, yet you feel like a stranger to this body and mind. Both are generally the brain's stress response doing something unhelpful. When things feel overwhelming, the brain sometimes dials down the intensity of your experience as a kind of buffer. The side
That's
effect
so
is that
weird.
everything feels slightly fake. You're both numbed and slightly
What's with the
panicked.
audio?
It's really weird and not pleasant at all. It passes on its own for most people, and knowing what it is makes it considerably less frightening when it shows up.
I mean, I think it's something that I may have experienced before. Like, you ever have those things where sometimes when you're with your friends or stuff like that, but instead of like, just three of you guys or less, it's like a whole group of them. And sometimes you're just like in the background, right? And maybe, you're just like kind of there and you're just existing right there with the group. And in a way, you're not aware of your surrounding at that point. And then that's how that derealization happens, where everything around you is just like either it's not real or just irrelevant, which is very weird. But I mean, someone let me know your experience with how it looked for you when you had a derealization moment. Let me know in the comments, but let's check out sleep paralysis.
Sleep paralysis. You wake up, or you think you do.
Now, is this
You're
sleep paralysis
conscious. You can see your
demons?
room. You know exactly where you are, but you can't move. Not a finger. And sometimes there's something in the room with you.
Yep,
A
sleep
shadow,
paralysis
a
demon.
figure, a presence somewhere at the edge of your vision. And
No.
you still can't
No.
move. Sleep paralysis has been reported across every culture in history. Before anyone understood it, people called it demons, witches, a supernatural visitor sitting on your chest. The Old English name was the hag. Across thousands of years and dozens of cultures, the descriptions are almost identical. A dark figure, a weight on the chest, something watching. What's actually happening is a timing error. During REM sleep, your brain paralyzes your body so you don't act out your dreams. Normally, this switches off the moment you wake up.
Huh.
In sleep paralysis, the paralysis lingers after your consciousness returns. You're awake, but your body is still in sleep mode. The figures are hallucinations. Your brain's still half in a dream.
No. I'm glad I've never experienced that, but I've heard stories about people who've had like sleep paralysis demons, and it just sounds so nerve-wracking. It's like, what do you do when your whole body's frozen, but you're in some way, your consciousness is like aware of what's happening around you, but you just can't move? Like, if I had like one of those sleep paralysis demon situations, if I saw a spider 10 feet in diameter, I'm obviously gonna be like crapping bricks because I don't know what to do if I can't move. That is a terrifying feeling. I can't fathom that.
Dream state, generating images that bleed into waking. It's not a ghost. It's your brain caught between two states at once. Childhood
No.
amnesia. Think back as far as you can.
Nostalgia in a
For
way?
most people, the earliest clear memory is around age 3 or 4. Before that, almost nothing. Maybe a few blurry fragments, and even those are hard to trust, which is strange, because those first years were some of the most intense experiences of your life. You learn to walk, to talk, to understand the world, and you remember almost none of it. This is childhood amnesia, and it happens to basically everyone. The part of the brain responsible for forming long-term memories, the hippocampus, is still developing in early childhood, and isn't yet equipped to store experiences in a way that survives into adulthood. There's also a language component. A lot of how we store memories involves attaching words to experiences. And before language fully develops, events are much harder to hold on to. The strange part is that young children aren't experiencing life any less vividly. They're laughing, crying, forming attachments, having strong feelings about things. It's all happening in full intensity. It just doesn't make it through to the other side. Whoever you were at age 2 is almost completely gone to you now. The doorway.
In a way, though, I mean, from what I'm understanding from this is interpreting how you, when you were younger, like very young, your memories were just basically irrelevant. You're just living in the present. You weren't expecting tomorrow or the next day or anything like that. You're just living then and there. But in a way, it's kind of cool because there are moments though where you kind of remember either 2 or like from 2 to 6, maybe you have vivid memories of experiencing something at that time. So you're not fully gone, but in a way, your brain really remembers them because they're like core memories to you, which is really dope. But it's pretty crazy, how the personality just switches up like that. So let's check now the doorway effect.
You get up with a clear purpose, walk into the next room, and the second you get there, the thought is completely gone. You stand there trying to retrieve it, you can't. Walk back to where you started, and then you remember. This is called the doorway effect, and it happens because your brain organizes memory by environment. When you're in a specific space, your brain groups together the thoughts and intentions that belong to that context. Walking through a doorway triggers a kind of mental reset. The brain closes out the previous context and opens a new one. The intention you had in the other room got filed with that room. Going back works because you've re-entered the context where the thought was formed. Your memory wasn't failing. It was organizing by location the way it always does. It just happens to be inconvenient when you're trying to remember why you walked into the kitchen.
Yeah, it's really short glitch, but it's so frequent, I feel like, with everyone. every single time when I had someone, come in a room where I was at, they would sometimes come to me and be like, what was I coming in here for? And it's crazy because I always was like, just you just forgot very fast. So that's crazy. But no, it's how do you just like open through a door in a way it just resets your whole brain like, oh, I don't know what the purpose was of me being here in the get-go. So I'm just gonna head back and then it just like switches like a light.
Alice in Wonderland syndrome. You're
Oh,
lying in bed or sitting quietly and something feels off about your own body. Your hands look too small or too large. The room feels like it's stretching away from you. Objects nearby seem way bigger or way further than they actually are. Everything feels slightly wrong in scale, like the world has been resized without telling you. This is Alice in Wonderland syndrome, named after Lewis Carroll's story, where Alice spends most of her time either too big or too small for the space she's in. It's a
right.
neurological condition that distorts perception of size, distance, and sometimes time. It's most common in children and tends to show up at night or just before sleep, though it can occur at any age. It's most often associated with migraines, viral illness, or the brain's activity just before sleep. The leading
Jeez.
cause is thought to be unusual electrical activity in the parts of the brain that process size and spatial perception, the same areas that, when working normally, help you judge how far away something is and how large it actually is. When they misfire, your sense of scale goes with them. Lewis Carroll himself is believed to have experienced it, which may have been part of what inspired the story.
If someone can tell me in the comments, like, have you seen a moment where you just felt like, your room is usually, because, I'm a really tall guy. I'm like 6 plus. And sometimes it feels like my room is very, compressed or it's like very, expansive. It's so weird. I don't know. I don't think I've ever heard this one.
Pick any word and what
What's it called?
inspired the story. Semantic satiation.
Semantic
Pick any word and
situation.
repeat it 10 times in a row. Chair, 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 chair.
Share.
Do you believe in life after love?
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Sounding like a word. It sounds like a noise, a random collection of sounds that doesn't seem to mean anything. You know what it means, but it's temporarily lost all sense of meaning and just sounds strange. This is semantic satiation. When you repeat a word rapidly, the neural pathways that connect the sound to its meaning get temporarily fatigued from firing so fast. The connection between the sound and the concept weakens for a moment, and the meaning just doesn't load. The sound remains. The sense disappears. It recovers within a few seconds once you stop, but in that window, completely ordinary words feel alien. It works on written words, too. Stare at any word long enough, and it starts to look like it might be spelled wrong, or like something from another language entirely. Your brain just needs a
That's
short break
trippy.
before it can process it normally again. If you like this video, leave
That is actually unique how we can say things so many times to the point where they don't even sound like how it originally was before. So that's a cool glitch. But I mean, all the glitches were very unique. So comment down which common glitch in your everyday life that you have experienced, and yeah, just let me know. So of course, as always, you guys, like, stay hydrated, wash your hands, and be sure to subscribe. And I'll see you guys, as always, in the next video. And this is Isaiah. Adios!